I'm excited because I just got a new car. This is a 1985 Ford LTD Crown Victoria, and I'm really excited because I think this car has a lot of character, and I have a certain sentimental attachment to it. It should ride really nicely, and one of my favorite things about it is that it defies certain laws of space-time. You see, this car is so big that as you're driving it, you're actually in more than one place at the same time, which I think is incredible. The car hasn't seen very much love lately. It's kind of dirty, has a few dings and scrapes, but that's what's going to make it that much more rewarding when things are done. The interior needs a little work. It's got a few stains, but it's really in remarkable condition for being built about 30 years ago. Headliner looks good. Seats aren't torn. Has a 5-liter V8 engine, tried and true Ford 302 engine. It's not exactly a hot rod. I was driving it home and I floored it, and I really couldn't even feel when it shifted. And I think it did kick down into the lower gear and accelerate because the speedometer indicated that to me, but it's not a top fuel dragster by any stretch of the imagination. So here's what it looks like now. Kind of dirty, but overall in good shape. Ooh, it also has the faux convertible vinyl Landau top. That was probably a really expensive option back there in 1985. Pretty much everything works on the car. Air conditioning works, and it has this aftermarket cassette stereo, which may not seem like anything special, but I think what this means to me is this is an aftermarket unit, which means there is an audio line going into the radio, and I may be able to take this out and wire in an auxiliary cord so I can plug in my current day cell phone or MP3 player and play it through the factory stereo while still keeping the nostalgic dual knob look. Full featured quartz clock as well. You can't beat that. You can't beat a quartz. They're always better than gallon or pints clocks. And aside from being a classic, comfortable, elegant automobile, it should also be able to produce a little bit of income for me. I really feel that this trunk would be a great starter home for someone. Pets, okay, with a deposit. It's funny how times change. Back in 1985, this was Ford's top-of-the-line automobile, and it has 14-inch rims. I think wheels today are about double that size. So I think what we'll do is clean it up, make it look good. Well, I've got the old girl cleaned up now, gave it a bath. It could still use a good polishing and waxing to really make it shine, but it definitely looks presentable right now. We worked on the inside as well. Just a quick vacuum. There's still a few stains in the carpet. And we'll work on those later. That's one of my favorite terms, later. But I think the next thing I need to do, actually there are a couple things I need to do. One is address the radio. It doesn't matter where I have it set, AM or FM, I still get this terrible feedback. Even if I tune it to a station, I just get this terrible fuzz noise, like the tuner itself is broken. So I'm going to have to do something about that radio. But even more important than that is a little bit of a wobble in the driving experience. So I'll take it for a ride here and show you. You see, when I drive, I feel a real shimmy in the steering. See that? If I let go of the wheel. That's not very good. See, I let go of the wheel there. It's got a pretty bad shake. And this should ride like a waterbed on Vicodin or something. This should just be like super smooth. So I'll take it back to the house and show you what I think the problem is. See that? See, that's no hands on the wheel. Just shake, shake, shake. What gives me a clue to the problem is the fact that when I drove this car home, I didn't really feel that shake, at least not to this extent. And then I started looking at the tires and I noticed that the right front tire was really starting to get bald, so I switched the left rear, which was a good looking tire, for the right front. I did a little half rotation. I'll call it a 180. I did a 180 on it. And then this problem cropped up. So I'm thinking that that tire that I switched out of the back onto the front has some kind of an issue with it, and it's just pronouncing itself much more clearly since it's on the front now, and I can feel it through the steering wheel rather than on the back, just bolted directly onto that axle, which I wouldn't feel any irregularity as much. So we'll get back to home base here and have a peek. I've got the car back into the garage now. When was the last time you saw a car with a bona fide, no-nonsense, 6-foot-long chrome bumper? I think that's just wonderful. This car doesn't have crumple zones. It just crumples whatever it runs into. So this is the tire that I think is causing that wobble. See, the tire just at first glance looks great. Great tread wear, and the one that used to be on that corner is this one right here, which was pretty bald, especially here on the side. And that's from being on the front. It wears this corner down quite a bit because you're turning and all that weight of this big iron tank bearing down on that little bit of rubber all the time. So I switched those two tires around thinking I was doing a good job, and then this trouble started. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a bubble in the tire right about here. Can you see that? See how this is all level here, and you get down here and it bubbles out? So that's what's causing that shimmy when I drive. And the last time I checked, tires should be round and not have boils and bubbles in them. So I think the course of action is to buy at least one tire to replace this one, and possibly more than one depending on the deal I can find. I've done a little bit of research hunting for the best deal I could find on tires, and it turns out that the size of tire that is on the car now is kind of a tough size to find. They are out there, but they're not plentiful. It's a 14-inch tire. It's a 215/75 14 to be exact for you tire gurus out there. And I couldn't find any used tires in that size. That was my first choice, because if I could get a set of used tires for $100 or something matching, that's what I'd do, because none of the tires on this car are in great shape. Couldn't find any used tires, but I did find out that a very similar size, a 205/75 14, which is just a little bit narrower and a little bit shorter, is a very common size tire, and inexpensive too. I saw one ad on Craigslist, as a matter of fact, for a set of rims and tires in that size in good shape for $50. It was about an hour's drive for me to go get them, but I was willing to go snatch them up right away, because that's a good deal for used tires and wheels. I could buy the tires and wheels for $50, and probably after I take the tires off the rims, sell the rims for close to $50 and get almost free tires. But alas, I called, no answer, left a message, waited 24 hours, still nothing. So that deal's gone with the wind. I made a compromise. What I ended up doing is I drove down to Old Wally World, and they had a Douglas tire. So I bought me a couple of Douglases, and these are the 205/75s, which is the more small, narrow compared to these 215s, but very similar, close enough for me. And the reason I got these rather than the size that's on it is because not only are they cheaper, but they were in stock at the local store, and I need to be back on the road post haste. So I bought two of them because since it's a different size than what's on the car, I figured I should buy a pair. I'll put these on the front. I'll put the best two of this size on the back, and then I should have a solid ride as far as tires goes. And the way I buy tires is I don't pay to have them mounted, balanced, valve stem, tire protection, road hazard, blah blah blah. That's called a waste of money. What I do is I'll buy the tire at Walmart and get it home, and I'll just go ahead and mount them myself via my tire changing machine. I bought this at Harbor Freight a few years ago, and I think I paid $50 for it, and it's paid for itself over and over and over again. In fact, if you need a detailed description on how it works, you can see this video right here. But as for right now, I'll switch some of these tires out and get this Crown Victoria back on the road. I'll start by pulling off this wheel. Have you ever noticed just how much of a difference hubcaps make in a car's appearance? This isn't a very good hubcap. In fact, of the 4 hubcaps on the car, this is the worst. But just look at the difference, just at first glance, between this and this. Yikes. That's the Junkyard Dog special right there. So hubcaps are really a great thing as far as aesthetics. So I'll pop this wheel off now. When I take off a wheel, I just use a standard 4-way. I don't use an impact wrench or anything. And I leave the tire on the ground so I can break loose all 5 nuts, and then I jack it up and remove them the rest of the way. And armed with some soapy water, now we'll go to work on it. First I'll break the bead. done. And now we'll throw on the new tire. And here we are installed again. Now I'm going to switch out the other tire and put the new one on. Get both of those in the front, and then I think we'll take it for a little drive. I've got both my new front tires installed, and I decided to hop on the interstate and take her for a test drive. And I'm pleased with the results. It rides much better than before. I'm cruising at about 59 miles per hour. I drive with economy. And you can see the steering wheel here. No more shaking. And this is what leads me to believe that oftentimes balancing tires, while optimal, is not entirely necessary. So I'll drive along here a little while longer and make sure all the bugs are worked out. Do you hear that? That's silence, because the radio doesn't work. When you put it on the FM setting, you don't hear music. You just hear like a background fuzzy noise. I think I mentioned that before, but I think that's my next step. Once I get home, I'm going to fix up that radio. I'm not sure exactly how, but it should be interesting. Yeah, I'm really getting to like the LTD. It's a great road car. Good transportation car. It'll get you from point A to point B. It's a driver's car. Good road car. Not much use in a swamp. Good road car. That's all.